Hey guys, welcome back to Pack Talk with me, your host, Pete Vodden. I am here today with the remarkable Lizzy Picardi. Lizzy is a powerlifter, a marathon runner, and just an all-around badass. I've known Lizzy for a long time. Lizzy actually used to work for us at Pharos Athletic Club. She was one of the early coaches at the club. And it's funny because, first of all, Lizzy, welcome. Good to have you.
It's so great to be back.
And it's funny because sometimes people ask me, like, if a coach was to come to you and ask and tell you that they're going to go and open their own gym, would you be upset? And I'm like, honestly, knowing what I know now, the only thing I would say is good luck. Because it's incredibly hard. It's a huge challenge. It's like every day you get hit with 5 different things that you never expected. You really have to like be up for it and be very, very tough, have a very, very tough exterior to deal with the situations that occur. So let's just start by welcoming you back in, Lizzy, and giving everyone kind of like a little bit of background to your fitness kind of journey, because you've had a long career in fitness, and then how Rose City kind of came about and what the kind of project is.
Yeah, I want to say I've been training for about 12 years now, so a little over a decade. I originally got into fitness, I think how everyone else does. I was like, I want to be healthy and I want to look a certain way. Um, and then I just fell in love with competing. So I started with Olympic weightlifting and powerlifting. And the day I touched the barbell, I was like, I need to get super strong. I remember I did, do you remember starting strength?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
That's where I started, just like 3 sets of 5 of
Yeah.
everything, 3 times a week. I could barely deadlift. I remember I maxed out 3 weeks in and I couldn't deadlift 185. It was like glued to the ground. And I was like,
Yeah.
I need to learn how to do this. I need to get as strong as possible. And I started competing and I fell in love with competing. Um, and at the time, I was still, and this is where I think the whole hybrid thing comes in. I was still cycling, commuting, so I was still keeping up all my other things while powerlifting. Um, I did a triathlon back then while I was prepping for my first powerlifting nationals too,
Oh, wow.
which I just didn't tell anyone about. Um, that was in 2014. That was when I moved here,
Okay. Where did you move from?
New York City.
Oh, from New York. Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think, because for those of you who don't know, Lizzy is on the smaller side in terms of frame. What were you, 5 foot, what?
I'm 5'0".
5'0". Lizzy is
Mhm.
5'0", but an absolute powerhouse. So it's one of those things. I think powerlifting sometimes really appeals to the smaller people, just because it's a
Yes.
really good opportunity to express strength and power, and be like, I may be small, but look what the fucking look what I can do, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Um,
I've seen that a number of times over the years.
Yeah, we've had a bunch of smaller women come in too. So I own a small woman-owned strength gym, mostly for like semi-private coaching. And a lot of the women tend to be smaller, and they're like,
Yeah.
I need to be strong,
Yeah.
and it's really cool.
It's really cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
I love that. I love that about powerlifting and about strength in general. I think it's both physically and mentally, it's a really powerful tool. It, teaches people to respect themselves, and, teaches them that it doesn't matter how tall you are, you can still be incredibly strong and do things that the vast majority of the population cannot do or choose not to do. And I think it's a really helpful tool. Again, I've seen it so many times over the years. People are shocked at how strong they can get and what they can actually do, and I'm sure you've seen it over the years. Like, people just break down, they'll hit a lift and they'll just break down emotionally because they can't believe, how far they've gotten or what they've been able to achieve through lifting.
Yeah.
It's very powerful. Um, what was the kind of impetus behind Rose City? What you got to a point in your career and you were like, I need to do this. What was the kind of like impetus for that?
I've wanted to own a gym, which it's funny you said that in the beginning. It's really hard. And after I opened the gym, I was like, wow, how does Pharos do it? Like, just the scale you do it on. I had this whole appreciation
Yeah.
of how challenging it is.
Oh,
When I moved,
I had no idea either. If I had known, if I knew then what I know now, I never would have done it.
I
Yeah,
know it's like all these like, bills every, was like, what is this? I didn't even know I had to pay this. And just
I
like,
know.
it's really hard. And going without paying yourself for a few years is
Yeah,
like really hard.
really
Um,
hard. Yeah.
doing your own cleaning at the gym and all that stuff. But I wanted to own a gym since I moved here. So that was why I moved here originally.
Right.
Um, I just thought it'd be really cool. I don't know,
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
putting enough thought into it.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things like, and I talk to this about, this subject comes up a lot, but it's like often we open a gym because it's what we love. We love fitness. We love strength. We love helping people. We love coaching, right? But then pretty soon the realities of the business take over. And then it's like, oh, isn't really about fitness. I mean, it is and it isn't, right? There's just all this other stuff. It's like, what do you mean? Where did this tax come from? Where does this bill come from? Like every day I'm dealing with like either something from the city, something from the federal government, something from an employee, something from a member. It's like all this stuff is just hitting you in the like from all different angles. And you're like, I never knew like gym ownership was going to be about this. And that kind of like, I think that's what most people don't anticipate. And like you said, it's like, you have to be very careful that you don't just end up running a charity, because it's very easy to run a facility and not be able to pay yourself. I know multiple people over the years that have not been able to pay themselves, and then they have to get another job just to keep the gym going. And then they're really just running a charity for people to work out in because they love fitness so much.
Yeah, I actually started going back to school and taking accounting and business classes,
Right.
to understand the financials. And I was like, oh man, when we first opened, we thought of a price that made sense in my head. I was like, oh, this is what people will pay for this, without realizing. So my space, it's really like semi-private training. So it's great for people who don't know how to lift, who really want a safe and quiet and small environment. So classes are usually 4 to 6 people, which I didn't realize how small that was and what a cap on the money you made was.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to make a small supportive environment that's also financially reasonable for people. And then I was like, oh wait, this business model doesn't work very well.
It's
At the
end of the day, it is a numbers game, and it doesn't matter how much you love something. At the end of the day, if it doesn't make money, if it's not financially viable, it will fail. And this is the tough lesson that we all learn and that we're still learning. And this is something we're still having to pay attention, still trying to refine. And we're working with the Business of Strength right now, who are essentially a consulting company that help us manage the business side of things better. And there's a lot of like, how many square feet is your gym?
It's really small. It's like 1,000.
Yeah, like 1,000 square feet. So a lot of their gyms are kind of in the 1,000 to 3,000 square foot range. A lot of them now are semi-private models, same as yours. And it really is, how do you optimize the revenue for that size space? A lot of it comes down to, okay, how much are you charging per person, per session? How much you paying the coaches? Who's running the facility? All these different things that come into it that you suddenly, and it can be years before you get to this point that you suddenly have to look at the big picture and are like, oh, all of this has to make sense. Otherwise, everything falls apart.
Yeah. So we're at year 3, which I think is when things fall apart.
Yeah.
When I have to look at it, I'm like, okay, we're surviving, we're paying the rent, we're paying a couple of coaches, but wait, how do I actually make this like a real viable business where I can pay myself what I want to make?
Yeah, it's super hard. If you need any help, let me know. I've got some people that
I know we'll table that chat for some time, but I would love to come visit you.
For sure. But it is that thing, it's like we are both very passionate about this. We both love this thing, but it's almost like you have to become someone else to run it the way that it has to be run. And it's hard objectively from the outside as well, because your facility is beautiful. We run beautiful facilities, and people come in and they see that it's like that, and they say, oh, these guys must be doing so well. They must be making so much money. Oh, everything's so nice. They can afford this and they can afford that. And they just don't see the back end. They don't understand like what it takes, or like how much is leveraged and how much you're having to just, take from this to put to this, to just juggle and kind of make it all work. And that's just something that gym ownership is. That's the burden of gym ownership, right? It's like you produce a nice product, so people just kind of assume that everything is rosy and nice.
Yeah, and it's cool and it's super fun and it's like the best job ever. I get to go and just hang out with the coolest people in the world, and that's the best part of their day. But yeah, I still need to pay for the roof over my head.
Yeah, it's tough. So let's get back to training. So you competed in multiple meets over the years. Do you even know how many meets you've competed in? Or is it so many?
Powerlifting?
Yeah.
Over 10.
Over 10. So over 10 meets over the years, and you've just gotten stronger and stronger. And at what point was it like, I need something else? At what point did kind of like the the running and the marathon and the cycling? When did that kind of come back in and be like, I need something else to focus on?
Yeah, well, I think bodybuilding was actually a good stepping stone because I realized that I was really enjoying the cardio part of it.
Right.
So for bodybuilding, I would do most of my cardio. I would take my bike outside and do the river path or whatever. And that was my favorite part of training. So that was about in 2018.
I forgot that. Yeah, you competed in a bodybuilding show, right? I forgot. I completely forgot that. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So it was like hours of cardio.
So you went powerlifting, bodybuilding, and then hybrid. Okay. Okay.
And then I would do stuff like, even when I was powerlifting, I would hide the amount of cardio I was doing from my coaches, which is like so insane. I'd be like, I didn't ride my bike for 4 hours over the weekend.
That's hilarious.
And then my mom got really sick and passed away in 2020, I think. So I was traveling from New York to here like every 3 weeks. So my powerlifting training just like fell apart because it was a different gym every day, sometimes hotel gyms.
Yeah, it's hard to maintain. Yeah.
I would still exercise, but my training wasn't like exciting. So I was like, you know what? I have these sneakers. I'm going to try to run across the Tappan Zee Bridge, which is like a 4-mile bridge a little bit north of New York City. So like by Westchester, it's really beautiful. And I couldn't get across the bridge. I couldn't run 4 miles. And it bothered me so much because I thought I was super fit. And I was like, I can't do a 4-mile run without like walking.
That's what they call a trial by fire. That's great.
And then it was just so easy with the traveling to just put on my sneakers and run. Yeah. And then you're going to laugh. I was someone who thought I could never run a marathon. I was like, that's something I could never do, ever. And then I had friends doing one. So I was like, I'll sign up. Sure. I'll just do it. And then as I started running, I did, when you start training, you get better at it.
Yeah.
So I started getting better at running. And then I got a coach. And I was like, I want 4 hours to be my goal. And he was like, you could do that today. You don't even have to train for that. So I was like, okay, I want to qualify for Boston because that felt like the next.
Right.
For women at the time, it was 3:30.
Okay.
So like, okay, that's a goal that will kind of push me to train harder. And then as my training was going on, it was going really well. That goal started becoming like, I don't want to say easy, but I was like, I'm going to hit it. And I was powerlifting. I just kept, because powerlifting was such a part of my identity, I just kept doing it.
Keep doing it.
Didn't really change much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at my first marathon, I think I got 3:08 and I barely lost strength just because I kept training through it.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. It's like, wait, I can, my lifts might be down 10%, which with the change of body weight, like, isn't that much?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I was like, I can run and I can be like one of the strongest people. That's really cool. Right?
Yeah. Well, even just running your first marathon in 3:08 is ridiculous. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's wild.
It was funny. I told my coach, I was like, I'm going to get under 3 hours. And he's like, no, you're not. I was like, well, I'm going to try. I didn't, but I got close.
Very close. Yeah. And have you since?
I'm running Boston in 2 weeks.
Oh, 2 weeks.
1 week.
Shit. Oh, 1 week. Oh my God. Well, that's going to be fun. Wow.
So I should be, a lot of stuff. I'm still fairly new to marathon running and a lot can go wrong in 3 hours. So.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, there's always unexpected stuff. I mean, I know so many people that, did everything right, prepared for it, the whole thing, and then had a hamstring cramp or something happened with their ankle or their calf or something. There's always things that you cannot predict, but you can prepare as well as you can prepare. And I've been obviously following you on your Instagram and seeing your prep, and it's looked very good. I mean, the pace you're carrying and the things you're doing is incredible. And you're still powerlifting. Everything's still the same, or has it taken a little bit of a back seat, or do you?
So I don't train. I don't train lifting quite as much, but I think that also made me realize, hey, I don't have to do something 6 days a week to maintain it.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
So to improve, you usually have to do extra, but once you have it, I just I do 3 days of like powerlifting training. So I squat once, deadlift once, bench once, and then I have 1 day of kind of gymnastics resistance training.
So you said you said 3 days of powerlifting. Or 2 days?
3.
Oh, 3 days. 3 days of powerlifting and then 1 day of gymnastics. And then do you run on the same day that you powerlift?
right now I'm doing 7 runs a week.
Okay.
So almost every
Almost every
day.
day, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Yeah, because I think honestly that's the hardest thing for people to manage is how to, how to break up their week and how to manage it. How to, if they want to be in the hybrid space and they want to do this and they want to do that and they want to do a little bit of everything, but they just don't know how to manage it in terms of, I've only got, let's say I've, like most people, have got 1 to 2 hours a day max to train. So if I want to fit all this stuff in, how do I arrange
Right.
it? How do I arrange my week? And I actually think powerlifting and running goes really well together because one does not really detract from the other. I think you can run into a little bit of difficulty when it's more of a bodybuilding thing, especially on leg days and stuff like that. If your legs are super sore, your legs are super tired, it's hard to hold pace, right? It's
So
hard
I
to
don't, yeah, I don't kill myself. I usually,
right.
my intensity is pretty high. I'll do 1 heavy squat or 2 heavy squats and like some lunges, and that's it. I'm like in and out like 40 minutes.
That's what I mean. It's like if you're lifting with just high intensity but relatively low volume, I think that's actually a really good thing to do for runners. Training that
100%. But that's what I feel like when I first started, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do 5 sets of 8. I need better like. And I was like, wait.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make any sense. I'm just
you've either got to
go.
You've either got to go absolute strength or you've got to go strength endurance. But you can't really go hypertrophy. It's I know people that have like Nick Bear. You follow Nick Bear.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Nick Bear does it somehow. I don't know. I don't really know what his complete split is or how he trains legs and so forth. But I can't imagine he's doing massively high volume legs and massively high volume running at the same time. I just don't know how it would be sustainable, really. But
and just like useful. I feel like you need
right.
it less than you think you do.
Yeah.
And then just getting used to my legs are tired a lot of the time, and it's okay. Like it's okay you can lift on tired legs, you can run on tired legs.
Yeah, you can.
And then once if you're racing, it's actually good to know how fast you are on tired legs, because in a marathon your legs are tired the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. How's the kind of change in nutrition been? Because obviously you went from powerlifting, which requires fuel, and then to bodybuilding, and obviously when you were doing show prep, you were going to have to be very very mindful of calories and macronutrients and that kind of thing, and then transferring back to kind of a more endurance space. So how did I'm imagining protein's always been pretty similar, but carbohydrates have changed substantially.
Yeah, I don't eat quite as much protein as I used to, and I think that's just starts like your body really wants the carbohydrates.
Yeah.
But I eat so much more than I used to. It's insane.
Yeah. You need it, right? You need the fuel.
Yeah, sometimes I'll run twice a day, and my paces are like, for a 5K, I could probably run it at like a 5:40 pace.
Oh shit.
So like,
wow.
I'm running really fast. So I'm just like, I'm drinking orange juice and soda, and like, it's insane. I never ate like that.
Well, this is the complicated thing, and why people get in trouble, because they look at someone like you and they're like, well, Lizzy drinks this and Lizzy eats carbohydrates and does that. It's like, yes, but your lifestyle and Lizzy's lifestyle are 2 very different things. But people almost don't do that. They just see something. They just see something that people are eating or sees, and that person looks fit and healthy, and they're like, oh, they're doing it, so I can do it. But it's, there's so much nuance to it. And even like you changing from, bodybuilding to an endurance athlete.
Yeah, I couldn't eat like this. I couldn't eat like this before when I was, even with bodybuilding, I wasn't, the paces I was hitting on my cardio and the intensity wasn't nearly there.
Yeah. Yeah, when you were doing the bodybuilding show, your cardio is,
I was eating
zone
nothing
2.
too.
Yeah, zone 2 low.
I don't even know if it was really zone 2. I had no, so I didn't even know. I know.
Yeah.
You're so tired. And that's the other thing. It's like, well, if you are dieting, or you dieting so much where you can't drive any intensity, because that doesn't help either.
Well,
so it is like a weird dance, right?
That's the running joke now. Everyone calls it zone 2, but it's like, you're not really even doing zone 2. You're basically just walking uphill.
Exactly. It's like zone 2 should even,
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, I can't get my heart rate over 110. And now I'm like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know how many grams of carbs? Because I just want to shock people so that they...
I've tracked one day, it got close to 400.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet it's around 400. Yeah.
For someone who's my size, is crazy.
Because what are you, like
Um,
130, are you even 130 pounds?
if I it ranges right now from 114 to 117.
Wow. Okay, yeah. So that's almost 4 times your body weight in grams
Yeah.
of carbohydrate. Yeah. So that's what I always say to people, like, there's a big difference between what phase of life you're in, whether you're in like, okay, you're in a performance phase, so your carbs are way high. If you're in a fat loss phase, your carbohydrates are going to be substantially lower. If you're in a maintenance phase, carbohydrates are going to be, so it's always, I'd say that the protein always kind of stays the same. The carbs and the fats are always going to be dependent on what you're doing physically, right? And even
Right.
like, when you're lifting for strength, or even when you're lifting for bodybuilding, but bodybuilding maybe not quite so much, but you can kind of get away with high protein, higher fats and lower carbohydrates. But once you move into that endurance space, like a performance endurance space, you can't
It's so
go
different.
you can't go low
Yeah.
carb. You need those sugars to sustain that effort. And I think that's where people get confused, because they just don't look at things from a real perspective. They look at things they just see what that person's eating, and they're like, oh, they're eating that, so I can eat that, without really thinking about, okay, but this person is burning, you know,
Training. Yeah.
4,000 calories a day doing all this stuff. They need that fuel. Whereas, someone who's, this is the other problem I think people get into, is a lot of people are training in the gym for 1 hour, but they're then sitting for the rest of the day in an office job, or they get home and they watch Netflix. So they're not
Right.
really moving very much apart from that 1 hour in the gym. And let's be honest, like, 1 hour in the gym moving is not actually as many calories as you think it is. Like, you'll actually burn more calories if you go for like multiple walks during the day,
Or even
and,
the
and stay
phases of life. I remember COVID, I
right.
did all online training and I gained weight so easily because like I was sitting at a computer.
Yeah, you weren't
I'm
moving. Yeah.
finally back to mostly in person, like 5 to 6 clients a day, helping them move weights. And I'm like, wow, this is a lot of work,
Yeah, totally.
right?
I think I honestly, I say to people, like, when they do get into that, like they want to lose some body fat, it's like, start walking, walk everywhere. Like, it's massively helpful. Walk to work, walk home from work, go for a walk after dinner. Like, just walk. I do think it massively helps with metabolism, and obviously there's a caloric burn to it, but just the power of movement is something that people need to get their head around. Like, just going for the gym for an hour doesn't really cut it. And why not just walk somewhere? Usually it's better for you mentally, spiritually, physically. There's so many reasons to do it, or cycling, or whatever it
Yeah.
is. Once you make that the difference in your life, I think things start to click. I know from my training up here, if I'm running to and from the gym, or I'm walking to and from the gym, and I'm walking around, it just makes a huge difference. Just
Where are
moving
you? Where's your
regularly.
main base right now?
Well, we're in Idlewild most of we live in Idlewild,
Cool.
obviously. We're traveling around. I mean, my mileage in the car is stupid. My hip flexors are so tight just from fucking driving. I took my I got a 2021 Ram, and I took it to the dealership because I was thinking about trading it in. I was going to try and get diesel just because the mileage is better, more affordable. And the guy was like, dude, I've never seen a truck so young with so many miles. This is preposterous. And I'm like, dude, I know. And because you're going up a mountain, down a mountain, up a mountain, down a mountain, up a mountain, down a mountain.
Yeah.
Like, some days I go down the mountain one side, come up the mountain that side, go down the mountain the other side, come up the mountain that side. So I'm just like traversing a mountain in a truck, which is not
No.
efficient on fuel anyway. So the guy was like, dude, you fucked up. I'm like, yeah, I fucked up. So anyway, yeah, it's a crazy. I'm doing a crazy amount of driving. I'm trying to counter it with, again, as much movement as I can.
I
And
know. I think honestly, if people got, this is going to sound crazy, especially because I'm in LA, but I think if people got rid of their cars, their lives would be so much better.
totally, yeah,
Yeah. If I didn't have animals, I would consider getting rid of my car, I think.
yeah, yeah. I think especially up. I mean, it's unavoidable for me to get to the gyms and stuff, but
Yeah.
our life specifically in Idlewild, I'll probably get a bike. It gets a little sketchy in winter because it gets icy, so
Right.
but I'll probably get a push bike this summer, and get the kids, like, Wyatt's old enough now to be cycling, so you know you don't really need to drive that much. Like,
No, I think,
the town's tiny. You can cycle pretty much everywhere.
and they make
Um,
e-bikes now, and I really think my base fitness and my base health comes from cycle commuting and walking.
Yes.
I didn't get a
Yes.
car until three years into living in Los Angeles. I would
But
bike everywhere. I'd bike in New York too,
that's great.
and it really was one of the best things I did for myself, I
Yeah,
think.
it's weird. I mean, driving culture, like, so I spent most of my adult years in London. I moved there when I was 21 and I didn't leave until I was 35, 36. And of course, in London, most people don't drive. You tube in, you tube out, you walk around the city because it's a very walkable city. You know, there's pockets, but you walk around the pocket in the city. Driving's a nightmare. Traffic is awful. There's no point. It's just not worth having a car. And there's a congestion charge and all that kind of stuff. So most people, you know, buses, tube, walk, like kind of like New York, right? And until you come to LA, it's like, oh shit, everybody drives everywhere. Like
And it's
you
so
just
weird
you
because
just have to look at
the, the weather's so nice.
I know you just have to look at how many drive-throughs there are to
Yeah,
comprehend it, right? It's
yeah.
like
But I tell my clients that have trouble getting in that cardio that's so good for you. Why don't you ride your bike to the gym, or then because then it's not exercise, it's how you commute. It's so easy to fit it in to your
and it's
lifestyle.
and it's it has a purpose, right? You're just getting from one place to another, so it doesn't even feel really like, you know, sometimes I think motivation is a problem. But if the motivating factor is, well, I have to get to work, so I might as well walk, then that's a good motivating factor, right? You have to get there
Hmm?
and you have to get back again. It's like you can't stay there. Um, yeah, and I think that is something that's important to get across, because it's just so easy, right? It's just so easy to, like, you know, sit down, have breakfast, get in the car, go to work, sit down all day at work, go to the gym for an hour, come back to work, sit down, drive home, sit on the couch, watch Netflix. Like it's just a real easy habit to get into, and I get it. And then we convince ourselves that we're tired, so we don't walk or we don't, but we're tired because we're not moving enough. We're not tired because we've moved too much and we're exhausted from activity. We're just
Right.
tired because we haven't moved and our body's kind of just like gone to sleep and our metabolism's kind of like down regulating and we need to ramp it up again. But yeah, I do, what I do appreciate about being up here in the mountains is people do move a lot. There's a lot of people walking, there's a lot of people cycling. Climbing's big up here, obviously, so it doesn't really feel like Los Angeles in the mountains. It feels, you know, much more outdoorsy and much more kind of like open, which is one of the things I enjoy about it.
I know, it
um
seems awesome. I think I want to get into trail running next, and it would be so nice to live up there.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
done some trail races and I've done really well. Um, so I might.
Well, I'd love to say I'll come on a trail run with you, but I'm not going to fucking keep up. I'm 47 years old and 210 pounds. There's no way I can keep up with you. But it is super cool. I'm doing a lot of you know, I run a lot up here, like mainly on the roads. I haven't done that much trail running. I've done some. I've mainly been, when I go on the trails, I'm usually just hiking. Some of them are fairly steep, so running's actually pretty tough. But there's some great trails. I mean, people do it, and it's you see a lot of people out on the trails running. And obviously mountain biking is really big too. There's some mountain bike trails that people hit up
Oh, I
that
bet.
I went mountain biking once on one of those trails, and I went ass over tit, and just like was like, it's probably not a good idea for me. I'm too big. But people do it and love it, and it's awesome. You know, I see people out cycling all the time, and it's great to see. It's
It's
also,
so fun, and there's
yeah,
road cycling, cross country mountain biking, downhill
right.
mountain biking, which is a little scary, but it's fun. It doesn't feel like
It's
exercise. It really feels like an activity you would do as a kid and have a good time.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like getting back to the things that you did as a kid that were just fun and you didn't even think about it. And then as an adult, you just like kind of like stop doing these things, and then you're like, well, why did I ever stop? And then you kind of rediscover it. Um,
Hmm.
so you got the Boston Marathon coming up next week, and then beyond that, like, where do you think you'll go from there? Have you got any goals beyond that, or?
Well, right now I'm just trying to become a better runner in all aspects. So I think
Okay.
something that like people who get into running specifically kind of mess up a little bit is they're like, okay, I need to be a half marathon runner, or I want to run a marathon, but just trying to become a better runner, right? So if your 5K is faster, most likely your marathon will be as well. So I don't think I found the distance that I really enjoy quite yet. But I hope I'll get less than 3 hours at Boston. I should, again,
Yeah.
in case something happens. I just raced a half, which was really fun, and I got an hour 28. I think.
Nice.
Um, and then probably some trail races over the summer and ultra, um, and then probably another marathon at the end of the year.
Do you know which ultra you're going to do?
There's a series in Malibu that looks really fun. I think Bulldog Ultra or something. It's
Okay.
50K.
50K? Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a whole different ball game. Once you start getting up there, it's like, and a big part of that is obviously fueling and getting your
Yes.
fueling right and all that kind
Mhm.
of stuff.
And being able to eat. Um, but
Able
it's
to eat.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, and I think also like, and not that this doesn't happen in a marathon because it does, but the endurance of the muscle, and for the muscle to be able to endure that kind of distance gets super interesting. Like you may have to do some specific endurance muscular training for that kind of a distance.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
a
know
long time.
it's a long time and it's
Uh,
a lot of stress on the body. So you got to
yeah,
be,
and different. The terrain is very different.
yeah,
And also just like mentally, I did a. It was a short. It was like a short. It was 15-mile trail race. Um, and
that's
when
not
you're
that short.
tired, when you're tired, it becomes really easy to trip and hurt yourself.
Yeah, for
And it's
sure.
much different from road running, where in road running you're like not trying to pick your feet up too much, and you're trying to be like super the same. You run a marathon, you're just like every stride's the same, and you just lock into your pace. But on a trail, there's so much more to pay attention to. And then there's also the mental toughness, right? And then being
Totally.
able to take all the terrain changes. Uh, and
There's
I
something.
don't. I was gonna
So
say I'm an older athlete. Don't laugh at me, but I'm turning 35. Um,
I remember 35. Yeah.
um, I would love to be able to race pro in some sort of sport at some point and like have a few good years of training in. And the nice thing about trail running is that it's not just a test of fitness, like it's not just a time trial. You have the mental fortitude, especially with the longer races. It's more than just fitness, which makes it appealing.
I think that is honestly one of the most interesting things about endurance sports is the mental side of it. Like it's fairly easy to like not easy, but it's just a different mentality. You're doing a 10-minute CrossFit workout. It's a completely different mentality to a 3, 4, 5 hour run or event. Even I think one of the reasons why High Rocks has become very popular, and we'll talk about whether you're going to do one or not, because you'd be very good at it. Is it's just the mental side of it. There's something there's something very, very powerful to a human being about overcoming an endurance event, something that takes a long time to finish, long time to accomplish, takes a lot of work. And then that kind of sensation of getting it done is kind of a very special feeling that you just can't get from shorter sports. And I think that does to some people, I mean, to some people, it's very, very addictive. Like I think a lot of those ultra marathon guys and girls, they just get very addicted to that sensation. And I totally get it. Like it is a very powerful, very appealing thing. Part of it's the endorphins, but part of it's just there's just something special about accomplishing a really, really, really hard, long task that you
The
just
mental focus is so
yeah,
different.
yeah, because you really have to train your mind to do it. It's like there's so many times where you want to quit and so many times where you have to force yourself not to quit. I think it develops such an internal strength in a human being that again, and that in itself becomes addictive. Like you were saying before, like you defined yourself as a powerlifter. It was just like it became who you were. And I think for a lot of endurance people, it's the same thing, right? It's like I get my strength from endurance events. That it becomes what defines me. And then it's a hard thing to stop or to lessen until the body tells you have to. It happens eventually. Like the body will say, "I can't do this anymore," or you have to like at least cut down on
Right.
the volume or the
Right.
mileage or whatever. But I don't think that appeal ever leaves you. The appeal of like doing hard things, accomplishing hard things, and gaining that fortitude, that mental fortitude that you get from it. It's just
Right. It's much
there's
harder
nothing else
even than
like it.
a powerlifting meet. I mean, you have to
Right.
focus, but like
Totally.
you do your lift and that's it. Like even for the half marathon, which is shorter, but that's still an hour and a half
Yeah.
of like, and I remember my headphones didn't charge and I was like, well, I guess I'm running with no music. for the half marathon.
Yeah, that's it.
And it was just just counting to 3 over and over again, pushing a pace that it's uncomfortable, right? It's a
Yeah.
little bit faster than you want to run.
Yep.
For an hour and a half, and it takes a certain type of focus for very long amounts of time, and it's really cool.
It is. It's a very specific discipline, a very powerful discipline, and it's one of those things. I think it's very intriguing. It's a really intriguing, because there's just you almost like, there's such a story that's written from beginning to end. You really go on a journey. Like, it's almost like writing a book. It's like there's different chapters to your journey. So take a marathon, you've got like 3 hours or whatever, like your mind cycle, there's so many different things that go on. There's so many stories in that 3 hours. There's so many conversations you have with yourself. And sometimes I find it interesting that sometimes the conversation is about right now. And then sometimes the conversation is like, you just go off somewhere and then you come back and you're like, oh, where did I just go? I just went somewhere for like the last 30 minutes and then I've come back again. It's like,
yeah,
that shit's interesting. It's like, it really is it's almost like daydreaming, you know?
Yeah, and it's such a good sign that you don't hate running anymore, when you can like think of something else, and
right.
and you're like, oh wait, I'm running.
Right. Yeah,
no, it's super cool, and you feel so accomplished when you get from point A to point B. Or that's why I think I signed up for a race up Mount Baldy, which is just uphill.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
And that's going to be super fun too, just like climbing up a mountain, even hiking up a big mountain.
I always said to Emylee, like, I enjoy things that have a beginning and an end. Like, that's why I like building something, or like when I do like any kind of like woodwork or something like that, because like I take a piece of wood and I build like a chair or a table, and there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And once it's done, it's done. And like, I did that. And I think it's the same thing with like a run or a marathon. It's like, there's a purpose to it. There's a beginning, there's an end. You either did it or you didn't. And it's not complicated. It's hard, but it's not complicated. And I think in life now, there's just so many complicated things. Like we just talked about business, right? And trying to run these fucking gyms. It's like, oh my God, there's just so much. My head can't fucking take it. But going for a run is like, I go and I finish. What happens in between is there. Yep. You move your feet. It's so simple. And it's like, I think we crave that almost as human beings. Like, I just crave something so simple that I don't have to think too much about it. Yes, it's hard, but it's not complicated. And I think that's the real gift of it, you know?
Right.
Did you, obviously, you know what High Rocks is and you know how popular it's getting. Have you thought about doing one? Do you think you'll do one? Or
so I've done some sort. It's called the Hypercon game. So I've done something a little different,
similar. Right?
And there are some things as a very small person that I've struggled with.
Yeah.
Which High Rocks is very cardio.
It's very cardio, and there's not really anything heavy. The only thing is going to be the sled push. The sled push and the sled pull would be the only thing, I think. But even that, I don't think for you is going to be that heavy as a powerlifter. Like,
no, I don't think it probably won't. Yeah, I would. I did.
For the pace for the pace that you can hold, because it's basically 8 1 kilometer runs, right? So it's 8K broken up with different events. Wall balls, ski erg, rowing. Obviously, the row and the ski erg for a small person is hard because you don't have the leverage.
No.
But I don't think the distance on it almost isn't enough. It's really a running event. It's all about running. So if you're a really good runner,
and then just chill on the other things, and
yeah, I mean, not chill, but it's like you don't have to be the best. You don't have to be the best wall baller in the world, because the amount of wall, there's 150 100 wall balls, whatever it is. I think it's 100 wall balls. So if there's 100 wall balls, there's not enough time you can lose or gain to make up for the running.
Right.
So it really is 8 kilometers of running is going to be where the story is really told. So the people that tend to be really good at it tend to be runners. So I think you would be good at it, and I think you'd find it super fun. I got dragged into one in Dallas in
Was
November.
It fun?
No, I'm doing one in November.
Oh, that's awesome. Are you doing it by yourself or the doubles?
No, I'm doing the doubles with
Nice.
with Eric, who's my GM at Redondo, who's super fit, like really fit CrossFitter, like 15 years younger than me. So I'm gonna fucking die a death on that day. I know I'm gonna be like, and I don't want to lose any weight, so I'm not. So my goal is like I want to do it, and I want to do well enough, but I'm not losing, because if I was to be
all types of body,
if I was to take it super seriously, I would lose 20. I would lose 20 pounds. I don't need to be the size I am to do high rocks. Like I'd be better off lighter. I'd be better off 20 pounds lighter. But I want to do that. I don't want to lose 20 pounds of muscle to be better at high rocks. So I don't give a fuck about high rocks. I just want to have some fun. So, so yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be super tough. Eric's going to probably make me puke, but I'll do it and I'll have fun doing it. And yeah, and
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's good to do different stuff. I did this. It was 3 days, and it was all sorts of competition. So there was a mountain run, which running with a bunch of CrossFitters was hilarious. I could like tell they had never done a trail run in their lives. They're like, it's going to be
right.
easy at the top. I was like, they've
Yeah.
never run up a mountain.
Right.
It was
Yeah,
like a
super.
swim. It was a bunch of CrossFit stuff. And there was a strongman competition too. And the yoke was like 4 times my body weight.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's great.
Because most of the women there competing,
Yeah.
they were like, almost, what's a average size CrossFitter? 160?
160? Yeah. Yeah, probably 160. Sometimes bigger. Yeah.
So yeah, there's some big girls there, and I couldn't even get, like, just from the size of my hands, I couldn't even hold the suitcases for the carry.
Right. Yeah.
I couldn't even hold it up.
Yeah.
So like, it's fun, but my size. Oh, and there was a max deadlift, and I repped out 315 for 2 or 3, but the next weight was 370, which is like, I'm not going to pull that.
You're not doing
That's
that.
like
Yeah.
more than 3 times. I've done it before when I was bigger, but not when I was in this shape. So my size definitely makes some of those kind of competitions a little
tough.
challenging.
Yeah, and it's always about who's programming it. So if you're a bigger person, you just forget, like you forget the importance of mass moves mass, right? And it's just physically impossible for someone your size to do that. So it just makes it kind of like, well, what? Like you're just favoring big people at that point. Like you're just cutting out a whole portion of the population. So this is this has always been the problem with like CrossFit type things. Is that this is why you have weight categories in sports, right? Because otherwise, the playing field just isn't really fair. Because as soon as
even the handles on the sandbags they had were so long that the sandbag would like hit me in the face. I was like, I can't do a thruster workout with this.
Yeah, so you can just program people out of it very, very easily, depending on who you want to win, which I think has always been the kind of like, you clearly wanted these people to win, so you had these events in there because anatomically it suits those people. That's the problem with that kind of a sport. You could even argue that with high rocks, right? You're saying, you're not going to win that. You're not going to win that event at 220 pounds, but that's the sport. But where if you put weight categories in there, then it will be a different thing. But it's like, it just complicates things. So
which back to powerlifting, I think that's why it's such a cool sport, because
relative body weight, right? Yeah. And that's when you go to the Olympics, obviously, like most things are weight categorized, right? All those relative strength is obviously different in the 100-meter sprint, 200, and track athletics is different. But most
but even then you do see some different body types, and it is interesting.
Yes, you do.
And I think we're starting to see even endurance athletes that aren't like, most runners my size are 80 pounds. Like I'm still big for a runner, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about because I feel like I'm so small. But I think we're starting to see different body types, because to recover from, I'm running 60 miles a week, which isn't even that much. To be able to recover from that, I need to eat a certain amount of food. Or if I was dieting to get to 85 pounds, I don't think I could handle the training I'm doing.
Well, also, I think you benefit from being a strength athlete for so long because, you have strong muscles, you have strong joints, strong tendons. You spent years strengthening that part of your body. And most runners don't have that. So their body can't actually handle what's about to happen to them because they just didn't prepare for it in that way. And now they'll probably have to go back and try and build that up. But I think you did it the right way. Like you built yourself up first. You developed those muscles. You built up the bone density and the strength of the joint. And the strength of the
stress fractures are such a big thing in the running. Yeah.
Huge. But you hadn't been there because, you've done years of strength training. And now I think, people who've been running for a long time get to a point where they're like, oh, now I realize that I need to strength train. Whereas you were a strength training athlete, like maybe I should run. And just doing it that way around, I think, is just a healthier way. And also, your metabolism's in a better place. You're much more physically aware of your body. So I think there's a lot of awareness and a lot of experience that comes with doing the way that you did it. So I think you're in better stead. So I think you'll be at a, like you said, you're not old, but you're not like young as an athlete.
Right.
So
I'm not gonna beat any 20-year-old in like a 100-meter sprint at this age. Like it's just
right, right,
out of the
exactly.
cards.
But your body's going to last longer than most, just because of
Right.
the lifestyle that you've lived and the strength training that you've done, which is super beneficial. So yeah. Well, good luck with Boston. I know you're going to crush it. It's going to be amazing. I know you'll have an
Thank
amazing
you.
time. Good luck with Rose City. I obviously I follow you. I'm so impressed with the way that you've done it and the way that you've carried yourself. And I know how hard it's been, and it's, it is a grind every day, but you're doing really good things. And I know you're inspiring a ton of people. Like I can't imagine the amount of women that just look at you and are just inspired by you, because you're a very inspirational person, and you do, all these incredible things, whether it be in strength, whether it be in running. You're always like posting positive things, and I think it's really helpful for people to see. And yeah, just keep doing it, keep inspiring, keep pushing those limits, and keep educating. The other good thing about your stuff is it's very educational. Like you're very specific about what you're posting, with your times and your distances. And I think you're putting out very healthy messages, and you're never you're not a dogmatic person. You're a very kind of, open person. You're open to trying new things and experiment and, figuring shit out as you go, like we all are, and not
I
pretending
know,
that we all
so
know everything,
important
because we
too,
don't.
right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
important to change your mind and try out new
I,
things. And
it drives me nuts when people are so, they try and push a point so hard, especially when it comes down to nutrition or something like that. And like I was looking at this person earlier who, like, 3 years ago was like, you should only eat meat. That's all you should eat. That there's nothing else you should eat. And then today they were posting, my diet is now basically 70% carbohydrates. It's just like, then you shouldn't have pushed that point so hard before, because now you just look like an idiot. Like, just
yeah,
admit we're all always learning. We don't know everything. It's all just an experiment. And you have to be open to new ideas and to other people's opinions, and just be open, and just realize that we don't have the answers. We're just figuring
right.
it out as we go.
Cool. We'll have to come
All right.
visit you guys in Idlewild.
Yeah, you're always
It'll be
welcome.
awesome.
Come visit Idlewild. Come check out Palm Springs. You'll love Palm Springs. It's just got so much going on there. It's awesome. And yeah, Idlewild's, it's great for runners, just because there's so many good trails, and the air is clean. Obviously, you're running at altitude, so it feels harder and different. But what happens is you come up, you get used to the altitude, then you feel actually much better when you're running down.
Yeah, I'll come do
where
like
you are.
a altitude training camp there for a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's great prep. All right, Lizzy. Well, lots of
Cool.
love. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I know everyone will be excited to hear from you. And yeah, come visit us anytime. And I look forward to seeing how you do in that Boston Marathon.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, Lizzy. How can people find you, Lizzy? Where do people?
You can find me on Instagram. It's just my name, Lizzy Picardi.
And where is Rose City?
Like
where
in Pasadena, in real life or on the internet?
in real life, where is it?
It's in like East Pasadena by PCC.
Okay, so if you're looking for a strength training gym for women in East Pasadena, check out Rose City Barbell. It's awesome. Lizzy's awesome, and yeah, we'll run into each other soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Dan. Take care. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon. Palm Springs is now open, guys. Come check it out. It's awesome. We are at 3455 North Indian Canyon Drive. If you haven't been there already, just come for a tour. Just come check it out. Sick. If you're coming to Stagecoach, if you're coming to Coachella, feel free to drop in. There'll be day drop-ins, weekend drop-ins, week drop-ins, whatever you want to come for. Obviously, Gym in Echo Park, where Glendale meets Sunset, 1316 Glendale Boulevard. Come check out that gym. As Lizzy just said, we're up in Idlewild, our little mountain gym up here, which is also awesome. Just come to Idlewild. You can't miss it. And then obviously in Redondo Beach on Artesia Boulevard, our facility down there. Great little beach gym, great for any kind of CrossFit, any kind of high rocks, any kind of like functional bodybuilding. That is your go-to gym in the South Bay, so go check it out. All right, guys, till next time, take care, and we'll see you soon. See you, Lizzy.